So it's Kiosha and welcome back to another video. So today you are looking at my desktop because a lot of you guys want to know how I made my overlay for my digital planner that I use by DigiSparks, which is the Hybrid Weeks, which is a digital planner that uses both words of either Hobonichi Cousins and a Hobonichi Weeks. And so I was going to try to explain how I made this template. So the first thing you will need, of course, is the digital planner that you plan on using because you want to make this to the size or the overlay specific to whatever planner you're using. So the first thing I like to use is Keynote. If you have, what's it called on Windows? I can't remember what it's called on Windows, but whatever like PowerPoint thing you have, that's what you can use. So for Keynote, I'm gonna open up, I can't remember which one of these was my overlay thing. All right, so here is the overlay that I made, as you guys. So this is what you guys see in my planner videos when I put an overlay. But if we go down, or did I delete it? I tried to save it, you guys, but it looks like I didn't save it. So we're gonna have to do a replica. All right, so I didn't save it, so you can't see what it was like before. But let's just go through, and these are, is this one? Okay. So this is a screenshot of my planner right here from last year, because I made it for the planner last year. All right, I know I'm all over the place. I'm gonna try to get this together. I apologize. So we're gonna make a duplicate of this page. Duplicate. Okay, so we have 3 copies now. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this copy right here so you guys can see what I'm doing. So you wanna have a blank setup of your PowerPoint or your Keynote. And then the next thing you wanna do is get a screenshot of your planner page that you want to cover. I'm going to see if I still have that screenshot in here. You guys will hear it come in. All right, so there's the screenshot. So then I take the screenshot and I will put it over this area here. Okay, so this is the page that I cover up, and I kind of make it as big as I can, like this. Now this is not the most efficient way. This is not the only way you can do it, but this is the way that I do it. And so if I take this and hit copy and then I hit paste, you'll notice it fits pretty good on the screen. And I have my sidebar over here, sidebar in the bottom part. Now, when I made this originally, it didn't fit as I wanted to, but the good thing about this, you can crop and size it to any size you want it to be in GoodNotes. And once you get the correct sizing, you can save it as your, what's that thing, the favorites in GoodNotes, and then it'll always be there in the right size that you want it to be. The next thing you want to do is you want to insert a shape, a rectangle is what I do, and I make it white. Make it white. Boom, there we go. So we have a white shape, and you might want to make it like another color so you can actually see. So let's just make it green so you can actually see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this the size of everything I want to cover. So I want to cover pretty much this area. And if you want to be able to see what's under, you can make it a little bit opaque by bringing this up and down, so you can kind of see where you're placing everything at. But for this, I pretty much didn't need to do that. Now to build the boxes, I took the measurements of the Erin Condren planner, and I made the boxes the exact size I wanted them to be. So we're going to ungroup these, and we're going to ungroup this one. And if you'll know, I made just shapes, just regular old shape. So this shape here is, let's see if I can tell you the sizing that I use. Okay, so the width is 154 and the height is 254. Okay, so if I move this down, you see how it'll change the heights and stuff like that. So that's how you change the height, and then of course you can make it as wide and as skinny as you want. So I tried to make it the same size as the Erin Condren boxes, and so then I made this the size of the actual headers. And like I said, this is not perfect. I had to play around with this a lot to get it to do what I wanted it to do, and once it pretty much mimicked what I wanted it to do and how far I wanted from each other, I clicked all of them and I grouped them together. When you group them together, they're all there, so you don't have to make another set. And then you can just copy this set, copy it, paste it, copy it, and then paste it where you want it to go. So now I will have my other one here, and then I would paste another one, and then I would have my other one here. Okay, and you can make this as big as you want. So for me, I need to lock this in place, and you can lock this stuff. So we're gonna lock this. If you lock it, you can't move it. So see how I can't move the green one anymore? Now I can't move it. Now I can only move here, which is what I want. So if I want to make this, no, sorry. Okay, so we don't want to change the size of the boxes, so we're gonna group this together. Nope, not that. We're gonna group these together. Hit group, and now you can change the size and the width of all of them at the same time, and they will all be exactly the same, if that makes sense. So if I wanted my boxes to be a little bit wider, a little bit narrower, a little bit squished, whatever the case may be, I could. And so we'll just go back to the original size, which was this. And then for Erin Condren and the Happy Planner, just depending on which planner you want to use, I want to do copy. You can make another set for the other side, and then you'll have to ungroup them this way in order to get that fourth row. Wherever you want to put that seventh day, if you want to have, so I want this one, and this one. I want to copy and paste, and see how it makes the exact duplicate. So now you have your 4 rows over here and your 3 rows over here. Or if you want 4 rows over here and 3 rows over there, you can do whatever you would like. And that's how I do that. So once I get this situated like I want it to be, I will take it and I will delete the background. I will unlock this background and delete it. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to have no fill, so it's black like this, because you want this to be, well, you can have it transparent, it's up to you. I actually did a white fill so that it would cover the page when I exported it. So you go File, and you're just gonna go Export Image. Make sure it's a PNG without a transparent background. If your page is not blank, if your page is white and it's blank, then you can do it transparent. If you have words or anything on the page that you're trying to cover up, you cannot do a transparent. Or you can cover the page in your planner and then use this transparent image over it, whichever you prefer. I prefer to just go ahead and just have the white on it, and then you'll go next, and then you will save it. All right, and then you can go find it in your Finder. It should be in my documents, and here it is. So now I'm going to go ahead and airdrop it to my iPad. So my iPad here. Okay, and now I'm going to screen record on my iPad so you guys can see what I'm doing. Alright, you guys, so now we're on my iPad and we are going to go and find that template that I saved to my iPad, and so we're going to bring it into GoodNotes as like an overlay basically, or a picture on top of the planner. So what I'm doing now is cropping it down just by eyesight, just to kind of play around with it. So you're going to have to play around with your template to get it exactly how you want it to sit on the page. As you notice, it's going to take me a few minutes, a couple of times of cropping just to get it right. So if you'll notice, I'm trying to line up the space between the two columns with the middle of the page, because I'm going to show you guys soon how to mimic that. So next I want to try out some of my elements that I like to use in my planner. So for instance, the full boxes and the headers, and I want to put them in the boxes, see if I like them, see if I need to adjust the boxes. So maybe I need to make them a little bit wider or a little bit shorter or a little bit taller, just depending on how you like to do your stickers. So for me, the width is excellent, but it is a little bit taller than the boxes as they would be when you shrink them down. So for me, you saw I could either stretch it real high or low, but I think my stretching it out doesn't distort the actual picture. So if it distorts the picture, I would change the shape and make it a little bit smaller. If it doesn't distort it when you stretch it just a little bit, I would leave it, but that's really up to you. And then the next thing I want to do is check my header boxes. So you notice here, it fits the header boxes actually perfectly. And so there's nothing I need to do. I mean, I could make them a little wider, but I'm okay with that. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is save the overlay in the cropped state. So remember, we pulled this in when it was not cropped at all, but now that you have it cropped perfectly like you want it, you'll need to save this version, the crop version, so you don't have to crop this every single time you come into your GoodNotes. So I just go back and put it in a folder in my drive for me to access later when I want to save it into my elements, because we're still got to do one more thing before we save it into our elements to make it look as realistic as possible and make it look like it's actually part of the planner. So I'm just going to put it in a new collection called Test and Elements. And then, you know, you have to import stuff in the elements. I can't figure out how to drop and drag, or if you could drop or drag, like it wasn't working. So I had to go and import the image from the drive into the elements. Don't remember having to do that before, but like I said, the first time I created it, that was so long ago, like way last year. So not really trying to know the whole details of it. If you know elements better than me, then you know how to get it in there probably without doing all this. But I had to do the import in order to get it in there in the crop version. So that's just how I'm showing you here. And then now, as you can see, as in my elements, I clicked on it and it looks like this. So the next thing we need to do is make sure this is centered as much as possible, because what we're going to do is we're going to make it look like the planner. So if you see right now, that line in the middle of the page lets you know that you have placed something on top of here and it looks weird, and I didn't like that. So I created a way to make it look like it's a part of the page, even with the line in the middle. So I just did a screenshot and saved it to my camera roll, and I'm going to pull it back in. And just once again, you're going to have to realign this, set this up a couple of times, crop it a couple of times, just to get it just as natural as can be. So I'm going and saving a different version just in case I mess it up, so I have more than one. And then when I get the right version, I'll delete all the collections that don't make sense. So as you do each step, I would go ahead and save each as a different collection, so that way you don't have to start all the way over if you mess something up. So here I am showing you guys how I got that middle part of my page. So you see how it has that middle section and it lines up really good with the middle of the page. The line does, the seam, that's it, the seam. I knew it was called something, y'all couldn't figure it out. The seam mess up. So I'm going to show you how to make that seam so that your page looks like it's a part of the planner and it doesn't look like it's actually something you just stuck in there and it doesn't fit right. So you want to take your lasso tool and make a screenshot of the middle of the page where that line is. So you just do a screenshot right quick. You'll save it to your camera roll. And then you will bring it back in after you save it to your camera roll. And then you will crop it to just the actual gray line. So you notice we got a lot of extra stuff in there. You don't want any of that extra stuff. So here I am putting back the overlay again, and you're gonna have to do this several times. So be patient, take your time. If you're impatient, you're not gonna be able to do this. So you got to take patience. So as you can see, it lines up a little bit, but I think I'm gonna crop it a little bit more. And you'll see that in a minute. But see, I'm gonna crop it down, try to cut out everything that is not the middle of that page. For where the seam is. We only want to see the seam. So as you can see, I don't have any extra above it or below the seam, and now I can kind of line it up with the page, and now you see it looks sort of perfect. But as you see down in the bottom box on the right in the middle, it was covering up because the seam was too wide, but I moved it over. But you see, when I moved it over, it doesn't line up. So now I have to move my page over and crop it again to make sure that it lines up with my seam. So I'm going to crop the right side of the page, I believe, make it a little bit wider. But when I did that, it's on the right side is actually going over the tabs, and we don't want that. So we're just going to, line it up as perfect as possible. And now I can move my seam over and line it up, and now you see it looks like it's a part of the page. It doesn't look like my page does not belong in the planner, and that's what I wanted to do. I hate it when it looks like it's an overlay, looks like I did something to it. This makes it look like I've done nothing to the planner. This is how it came, and it's ready for me to fill in. Sorry, wasn't meaning to take a screenshot. I wanted to actually save everything to the elements. So now I'm saving the seam and the overlay to elements all together. So the next time I go into my elements, all I have to do is click on it, position it on the page, and I don't have to do this whole process over again. And it takes me like 5 or 10, not 5 or 10 minutes, like 1 or 2 seconds basically. You guys seen it in my videos, sometimes 3 or 4 if I'm trying to be a perfectionist and make sure my lines line up perfectly. And then we're just going to test it again. So I'm making a new collection that says test 2 because I'm that person. I just want to make sure it works the way I think it should, and the way and make sure it looks how I want it to look the first time. So as you can see, I brought it in from the elements, put it on the page. I'm lining up the seam with the original seam that came with the planner, and I'm making sure it's covering everything I want. And boom, now you have a perfectly overlay to go in your planner for you to do decorative planning. And so that's what it turned out to be. So that is how I made it, you guys. If you don't understand or have questions, just leave them below. But that's basically how I made this overlay for my planner, and this is what I use to do decorative planning in my digital planner. Okay, so if you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any more videos from me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.